Ladies and gentlemen, we have made it officially to the end of the 2024 season for the San Francisco 49ers, and honestly feels kind of good. I'm glad we are here. I'm glad we have finally made it through this cursed season, and even in this game against the Cardinals, you got more injuries, more issues, and more things to work through. But thankfully, the 49ers are done playing football, and we can shift our focus to the upcoming offseason where there's going to be a lot of things to address. But first, let's address the game, give our initial thoughts and feelings about it all, and let's put a bow on this 2024 season right now. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. Well. The San Francisco 49ers finish the year. They are 6-11. Get trounced by the Arizona Cardinals, but not, to be expected. I don't think we were totally thinking that the 49ers were going to really come out and win this game. I was actually hoping that we had a respectful loss in this one because as a result, the San Francisco 49ers lock in the 11th overall pick in this upcoming draft. If they were to win, they would have jumped to 13. So, hey, you stay in front of the Cardinals and you are now the 11th pick. And hopefully you get two quarterbacks that are going to be drafted in the top 10, Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, maybe even a third if you're lucky. And the reason why we want a quarterback to go in the top 10 is so that it will push the top end talent down to the 49ers at 11 so they can have an opportunity to get a big time, big name, game-changing player, an Abdul Carter, Will Campbell, someone of that nature, someone who can make an immediate impact for the San Francisco 49ers. Because let's face it, the 2024 season was awful. It really was, I think, one of the more unfortunate years for the San Francisco 49ers under the Kyle Shanahan tenure. I believe it was the worst season under Kyle Shanahan, even if you want to go back and reference the 2017 year when they first started and went 0-9 to begin, or you go to the 2020 season where they were decimated with injury and the season was over before it even started. This, to me, was the worst season of the entire tenure of Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. So I am happy that it is over so we can start the process of moving beyond it and starting to look ahead at the 2025 season and how the San Francisco 49ers can get back on track. And like we were already talking about, it starts with the draft selection. It starts with what they're going to be able to do in free agency. It starts with who they're going to be able to sign in the offseason, how they're going to retool this roster. Tough decisions need to be made. For example, like from just this particular game, Jake Moody misses another kick. So I'm going to ask you guys, if you had the decision and you could make it right now, would you be bringing back Jake Moody? Would you just give him the job outright next season? Would you make him compete for the job? Or should the 49ers just outright move on and call it a wash and just move on and try to go and get just a change, maybe a different kicker, or just because it just feels like with where we stand right now, I don't know how Jake Moody regains his confidence within this organization. And that's not a slight on anyone within the organization. I just think that when you are in this position, you're drafted in the third round, this fan base has high, sky high expectations of what you should be, and you don't meet those expectations, and it results in the outcome of 49ers losing multiple games due to his contributions. I think it might be best for a clean slate for everyone involved. It's a production based business. I was hoping that the Nick Moody or the Jake Moody kicking getting drafted in the third round was going to work because I didn't love the pick, but again, I understood they needed a kicker. They did not have a kicker on the roster, and they weren't going to be getting Robbie Gould back, so they needed to draft a kicker. So they draft him in the third round, and you're just hoping that it's going to pan out, because if it doesn't pan out, which is exactly what we talked about on draft night when we were like, oh, this is a bold pick. It is bold to take a kicker in the third round, even if it's at pick 99 at the end of the third as a comp third. It's still a bold decision because of what we are talking about today. We're talking about it today because he was a drafted kicker. If he was an undrafted kicker, whatever, we would just be like, oh, it's not a big deal. But when you see players who have had success who are drafted after him, you're just like, oh man, like Puka Nacua was drafted after Jake Moody. And I know it's really easy to cherry pick those types of things. It's super easy to be like, whoa, look who got drafted after. Like, I get that aspect of it, but it doesn't sting any less. It's just a reminder of like, it's tough when it comes to drafting specialists. The 49ers have drafted a punter and a kicker, and neither one of them have done them any good this year. So it'll be fascinating to see if the 49ers keep the same mentality. Maybe they draft another kicker. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do, but unfortunately, as it stands right now, I think the Jake Moody situation is one of the bigger, um, you know, at the top of the list of players who need to be evaluated, kind of the harshest. It's just unfortunate. You know, typically you give players 3 years to figure it out. I don't think you have that luxury with a kicker. You've given him 2 years. It doesn't seem to be working out. Maybe it's time that we go in a different direction. But let's talk some positive stuff. Um, shout out to Jawan Jennings for playing his tail off when it doesn't matter. It's one of the reasons why this fan base absolutely loves Jawan Jennings. And there's a 7th round draft pick who's proven to be an absolute stud. And man, he really had an opportunity to get 1,000 yards this season. Unfortunately, he had 2 blocks back to back that maybe were a little too aggressive for the NFL. I get it; it's a contact sport. You don't want to push him too much. You don't want, be careful, guys. Be careful. You know, it's not like they're wearing pads or helmets or anything. You can't block them too hard. It just doesn't look right when you block them too hard. So I don't like it because to me it's soft, and this league is already soft enough. And it's like, man, let the guy block. If he's gonna block like that, reward him. Reward him. Don't kick him out. But he gets kicked out with 25 yards remaining to reach his 1,000 yard receiving goal. So unfortunate. But again, I think the theme of this particular reaction show is we're going to talk about the things that we don't like from this season, but we're also going to talk about the things that we think can catapult into positivity into the offseason and how the 49ers can build. Because I think we're in 2 states right now. I think we're in 2 states. It's like fully digesting the 2024 season and having our talk about it and closing the door on it and just looking to the future, because there are a lot of positives that I think we have heading into this next season, that can have them right back into the thick of it, in regards to being competitive next year. I think there are a lot of things you can correct. I think there are potential scheme things that can be adjusted. I think maybe we'll see what the coaching conversation looks like this offseason if the 49ers opt to make any decisions or look somewhere else. So we'll see about that. Um, versus Cardinals. So let's see. Also, I guess let's stick in the wide receiver room. I thought Ricky Pearsall looked good. I think with how Ricky Pearsall ended his 2024 rookie season, I think you can see that he will be able to build some momentum from the end of this year and transition it into his next year. So I do think that Ricky Pearsall will be someone that the 49ers can absolutely rely on, in the wide receiver position. And you think about it again, like I said, we're going to be talking about some not so good. We'll talk about some good. The good is like, all right, now let's think about a fully healthy Brandon Ayuk, who was just reported to be seen in the locker room, jumping, playing basketball, elevating off the ground already, which I take as a big positive in his rehab process. You get potentially fully healthy Brandon Ayuk back with Ricky Pearsall, and you start to see these two together and being able to work off their route running, you work off their cuts and ability to manipulate defenders with their routes. That could be exciting to see. And we don't know what the future is for Deebo Samuel. We very well could have seen the last of Deebo. I don't know how I feel. I think half of me believes that Debo is most likely going to be gone this offseason. And then there's another half of me that is like, well, I could see Debo returning. So we do know he's in the final year of his deal. We anticipate that Debo Samuel will be looking for a renewed contract. So I don't know what that looks like for the 49ers. I don't know if they're like, you know what, we'll look to trade your contract for now, or if they just ride it out to the end. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do, but like I said, I think they could have it both ways, um, for sure. 85 says, kind of in line with what we're talking about, Brad, what do you think of Jennings, Ayuk, and Pearsall and 25-26 starting receivers? That right there, again, with what we saw from Jawan Jennings this season, I mean, he didn't even have 300 receiving yards last year to then go to nearly 1,000 on this season. And then you add a healthy Ayuk, a Ricky Pearsall, even Jacob Cowing, in some spots showed that if you can just get the ball into his hands, he might be able to be an explosive wide receiver for you or a weapon that the 49ers could utilize. So get Jacob Cowing the ball, get him a full year of development, allow these rookies to kind of take a breath and be able to come back. I think there's definitely opportunity for growth there. I think that the 49ers could absolutely um, utilize who they currently have in their wide receiver room on top of adding, some crafty veterans that will probably be out there available to have on the open market for a relatively, good price. And so, again, I think if you look at the core group, which would be these three plus Cowing, and then you go out and you look and see who's available, who you can snatch on a 1-year deal, and things of that nature. It is really easy to look at this 49ers wide receiver room and say, all right, they have an opportunity to take a massive step forward next season. So I like it. I like where we're at because you can add via the draft, you can add via free agency. So there are plenty of opportunities to continue to build out the wide receiver room. So I think too with what's this? Lake City. What's up, my guy? He says, Brad, what's good? With Garendo going down, I think Gentry is definitely in play at 11. That would be a fascinating one. I wonder what the severity of Isaac Garendo's injury is. When Kyle Shanahan talked about it, he mentioned it potentially being an MCL. He wasn't really definitive on it, or give a definitive timetable for him to return. So I don't know. I'm very curious to see what the extent of the injury is for Garendo, but I don't know. Genty at 11 feels a little expensive for running back from a positional value standpoint. Now, I know he is a big time difference maker at running back. We've seen Jahmyr Gibbs go relatively high and be successful for his team. But I think that makes it difficult to spend such a high draft capital on a running back when you have Christian McCaffrey, when you potentially have Isaac Garendo, who will be healthy by the start of next season. Jordan Mason is a restricted free agent, so he has the potential to return. And Elijah Mitchell, he is an unrestricted free agent, so there could be a path. I talked about this, I think, a couple days ago. I think the fact that Elijah Mitchell spent all year on injured reserve, you could probably get him back on close to what I would assume is like a veteran minimum contract. I mean, I can't imagine, with Elijah Mitchell's health history, that he will have a lot of suitors on the open market. So that actually could be a pathway for him to return. I don't know if that's going to be the case or not, but it could be. And we'll have to see what the situation and how it is managed with Jordan Mason. So there's a lot of questions, but I think if you're going running back, you're probably going third, fourth round again. Because I think if we're talking draft, they're just you got to go with the sexy positions, and you got to go with edge. You got to go with potentially offensive tackle, or the best interior defensive tackle, or even a cornerback. Like, I'm not even ruling out a cornerback in that spot. If there's an elite cornerback that you feel is there, and you can grab one of these guys, and then you go into next year with a Diamador Lenore, a Renardo Green, who had a solid rookie season, and he had a solid game today, and then you add a blue chip cornerback into that room, and we know with how much this league plays in nickel, and what it could be like to have three just lockdown studs on the outside, depending on Charvarius Ward and what his future looks like. But hey, man, we'll see. We'll see what the 49ers do. But I'm curious to see if they would even consider running back at 11, or if they push that further down the pipe. So we'll see. I think Gentry is a phenomenal player, though. Him and CMC would be a lot of fun to watch. I'm not going to lie, but the hope is that CMC gets healthy. You have to remember, they also gave Christian McCaffrey, they extended his contract in the offseason. So he's still got time left on his deal. So you probably want CMC to produce for 2 more seasons before you start thinking to the future beyond that. So we'll have to think about that. But there's definitely plenty of things to discuss in the offseason. We're going to be talking about safeties. With the safeties, you have Malik Mustafa get injured today. And also you had Talanoa Hufanga get injured today. So I think that just kind of like what we talked about with Renardo being a solidified starter and a stud that the 49ers can count on heading into next season, I also believe that the 49ers have a certified stud and starter at safety with Malik Mustafa. So we have Jair Brown. Jair Brown has definitely not been ideal in what we were hoping for from him this season. He has an opportunity to bounce back next year, but depending on if they sign Hufanga or if they go out and try to find someone else, it will be fascinating to see how they manage that. So we'll see how it goes. Ty says, "I love your take on corner. Look at the Eagles, for example, Mitchell and Cooper. Absolutely. Again, I need to go premier position, and if you can add an elite cornerback to pair up with Diamador and Green in a passing league, I think it would make a ton of sense. Now, again, it's got to be the right player and it's got to be someone who fits, but I'm not ruling out cornerback at that spot if you can really find someone who is talented enough, worthy of the pick. But again, I'm also not huge on just drafting for position, even though I am a little bit biased towards the running back position in the first, just based on value. I'm not locked into offensive line. I'm not locked in to edge, defensive tackle, corner, even though those are all positions that I would like them to draft. I'm more fluid based on making sure that you're going to get a guy who's like going to be a franchise cornerstone. The 49ers need a first round franchise cornerstone. Nick Bosa was that guy. Brandon Ayuk became that guy until he got hurt. They need to get someone in that first round who's going to be a contributor to this team for the next 10 years. No question about it. Shout out to Captain 94. Appreciate the super sticker. But we're gonna have to see what it's gonna look like this off season. So many questions, so many moves. Offensive line is a conversation. Interior, I think, is huge. Need to get a center. Need to get a left guard. I do not think they're going to retain Aaron Banks. Colton McKivitz gets hurt. That's unfortunate. So many offensive line have gotten hurt this year. It's just been absolutely insane. God, there's so many things. I think they need to extend Kittle in the offseason. Brock Purdy needs to get paid. What other things need to happen this year? Man, hey, I'll say this. I'll say this. There are a lot of things that need to be corrected, but I also think that brings up a ton of optimism for correcting those things, for changing those things, for bringing in new talent, to injecting some new life into some certain positions. I think that it would be. I think it would be. I think there's a huge opportunity for the 49ers to spend this offseason into a winning offseason that can translate into a winning year heading into 2025. So, but it to me, it starts in the trenches. It continues, it will always be in the trenches. It starts in the trenches, it finishes in the trenches. They have to be able to run the ball better. They have to be able to move people better up front on the O line, and they have to be able to get after the passer, like Nick Bosa. Like, love Nick Bosa, but all I heard from Nick Bosa today was, "Oh, we haven't called Nick Bosa's name a lot today, and he's going up against a backup tackle." We need someone to be constantly disrupting this opposing backfield. Um, we have to. We gotta make it happen. Um, and I think it really comes down to what they tried to do with Hargrave. I think Hargrave's probably seen his last game for the 49ers. So they need an interior pass rusher. I think they need more speed on the outside. They need a more. They need one of those like big body, um, two gap eater defensive tackles to just eat up the run game. They need to fix their defensive line. They really do. I think they have some pieces. I think Yetur Gross-Matos can be something. I wouldn't. I don't mind keeping Leonard Floyd in his current role, but I would love to have someone who can rotate with him with the speed element. Yetur is a chess piece. You can move him up and down the defensive line, but I need more speed. I need speed across Nick Bosa. Um, so we're gonna have to find out. We're gonna find out if we ever get that speed. But I do think, I think there's some good pieces. Like, I think Sam O was nice this year. Malik Collins was a great surprise. Want to bring Malik Collins back? Um, absolutely, absolutely. This is what fans get when they trash Jimmy Ward and just thought picks were the only thing that mattered when playing safety. Jimmy Ward did kind of get he wasn't very popular to begin with, but I would say that Jimmy Ward ended his tenure with the 49ers probably as one of the more popular 49ers players. So, um yeah, it wasn't ideal situation for Jimmy Ward, but Jimmy Ward also, I think, just hadn't really found a great fit into the scheme for the 49ers. So it didn't look great for him for a while. But I do appreciate the super chats. What other things? I'm gonna kick it over to you guys. What do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about the game? Do you want to talk about off season? What other things happened from this game that are really worth noting? Mm, I don't know. Trying to think positives to take away from the game. I mean, I think Josh Dobbs played pretty well today. Um, I think I think Dobbs would have gave the 49ers a chance. Um, if he was given the opportunity against the Packers. Um, so I don't know. I thought Dobbs was decent. I thought if you put Dobbs with some more weapons, well, I guess that fits perfectly into what we talk about. Any takeaways from Dobbs in comparison to Purdy? I thought Dobbs was solid, man. I think that's exactly what I would expect from Dobbs. When I watched Joshua Dobbs on tape versus the 49ers last season when he played for the Cardinals, a lot of what I saw from him today um, was what I was expecting. You know, a guy who's going to try to be able to get the ball out quickly. He isn't like he tries to play within the scheme. So if his first read's open, he's going to try to hit it. If it's not, he's going to quickly try to get to the open wide receiver. And I think that's just what you saw from him today. And that wasn't perfect. Um, but I think that there's opportunity for him to get better, obviously, within the scheme. But, you know, I think Dobbs would have gave them a shot against the Packers. I think he would have gave them a little bit more explosive uh, plays and situations against the Packers. But it is what it is. Would a win against the Packers changed a whole lot? I don't know if it would because it felt like the year was going down regardless. So we can talk about, oh, he should have played against the Packers, but doesn't matter. Probably not. So it's a tough year, man. Completely decimated from injury. Completely just unfortunate losses, crazy mistakes, turnovers, penalties. We got more of that in this game. So brutal. Brutal year, but like I said, I am happy that it is over and we don't uh we don't got to deal with that season anymore. We could talk a little bit about this. Jamie says, since we're most likely paying Brock, who will be leaving? Um, Based on body language, I feel like Kyle Juszczyk is leaving. Because I don't think he's going to get a pay raise, and I think I think the pay cut, he did it to stay with the team, and he wanted to be here. But I think when the 49ers are going to go cost cutting, they're going to look at Juszczyk. They're going to look at his they're gonna look at his usage, and they're just gonna say, you know what, like even though he's the longest tenured Niner, he probably won't be here anymore. And I think the body language over the last 2 weeks really explained that. I thought when he got the touchdown at Levi's, it really felt like, yeah, man, this is our last touchdown at Levi's. Let's celebrate it. That's what it felt like to me in real time being at the stadium. And I was like, it stood out to me. Like I wasn't expecting that to be what stood out to me. But it was. So I don't think Juice will be back. I don't think Charvarius Ward will be back. I don't think Javon Hargrave will be back. I don't think Banks will be back. I'm 50-50 on Debo just because I know Kyle loves Debo and he has some contract stuff, so he's still under contract. So I've been under the assumption that Debo's gone, but I'm just kind of 50-50. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with him. Um, so we'll see with that. Um, who else? Who else? Hufanga, I'm 50-50 on because I feel like if he will be had at the right price, I think he could return. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what that looks like. Trey Greenlaw, same thing with him. So now this is the thing that I think you got to worry about with Trey Greenlaw is you look over there at the Houston Texans. And if D'Amico Ryans, who had a huge hand in developing D'Amico Ryans says, I want Dre Greenlaw and Azeez Al-Shaair to be my linebackers with Toa. Um, get those three. Clearly, uh, D'Amico would be able to have an inside track on some of that info of where he's at. So D'Amico's one that scares me of being able to poach Greenlaw because I don't know what the 49ers are offering. I don't know if the 49ers are going to be able to give him a contract that maybe he wants. I don't know. So Drake Greenlaw, um, I don't know if a team tries to, you know, take a shot even after injury riddled season and they just, outbid the 49ers. I could see that as a possible range of outcomes. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if we can retain some of these guys. Jordan Mason will be interesting to see what his situation looks like. He'll be a restricted free agent. So you would believe he sticks around, but you never know. Crazier things happen. And his value will probably be at one of its all-time highs. So I think if you look at it from a business perspective, if you can get a third round value or above for Jordan Mason, that is a huge W for from a football business standpoint to be able to take a undrafted free agent and flip him for a third round or above. That would be a big win, I would think, considered by the front office. A shout out to Lil Heater. She says, thank you for all your coverage this year. It's been a hard one. I appreciate the SDS. Shout out to Lil Heater. Shout out to all the other SDS. I know it has been a challenging one. It's been a lot of negatives, more so than any of us like when it comes to, being fans of our favorite football teams. So I know it can be a challenge, and I know Sundays are supposed to be an escape for us to be able to get away from our realities and be able to just have some fun watching football. And sometimes it's it's actually contributed to the stress and anxieties of our of our lives. But again, I do appreciate all you guys for always checking in and continuing to support the channel. I think we did 44 million views this year on YouTube, which is pretty remarkable as an independent content creator covering the San Francisco 49ers. So I appreciate every single one of you guys who has contributed to one of those views. All your views and engagement and comments and likes allow me to do all of this stuff. So I really appreciate it. Where's former team? Sorry, I'm double tasking. I'm saying thank you, and I'm still multitasking at the same time. So again, shout out to you guys, man. But what I am really excited about, this off season. It would be a lot different if we were talking about the off season and being like, "Oh gosh, I dread the off season." I don't dread the off season. I'm actually thinking that the 49ers can actually make some waves, make some good additions, make some pretty interesting moves, and be able to position themselves for a rebound next year. So, of course, we're going to continue the coverage. Draft season is officially underway starting tomorrow. We're going to have a lot of draft content. Senior Bowl's coming up. I'll be at the Senior Bowl covering that as media. So we'll get that cooking up here pretty soon. So a lot of stuff to work on, and I'm finally just relieved that we're here, that we made it through this season. And oh my gosh, this has been the most exhausting season for me covering this team. I would imagine it was up there with you guys, but hey, it makes for an opportunity for a big time comeback and bounce back next season and proving a lot of haters wrong. You know what? Shout out to the haters, man. We've been on a run. The 49ers have been on a run. It has allowed a lot of us to talk our talk and walk our walk. And it wasn't our years. So a lot of our haters, man, they let us know. They came back. They pulled the receipts. They said, remember us. And you know what? I'm not even, I honestly can't even be mad at some of the people, other fans, whatever, who have taken their shots at the 49ers because I get it. We've been the ones taking shots for a lot of years, and it was our turn to to get some of the the blowback. So hey, we got trolled pretty good this year, and it is what it is. Not the year for us, and hey, we deserved it. We deserved it. We didn't show up this season, and you get what you get. So, but we'll be back. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. We will come back next year, and we'll be talking our talk, and we'll be doing all our stuff. I promise you that. So appreciate all you guys. I know this was a tough one, a tough year, but we made it. We survived. Congratulations. You survived the 2024 49ers season, and we get 11th round draft pick, or 11th round. We get the number 11th overall draft pick. We got a last place schedule. It's time to retool, rebuild, get after it this offseason. And get that vibe. We need good vibes heading into training camp. That's all I care about, man. I don't want this piss poor energy from last offseason running into training camp. We all saw it coming from a mile away. We need to flip the energy, get good energy going this year, build that back up into training camp. Let's have a competitive, hard competition in training camp for everyone. And we know competitive training camps lead to good seasons for the 49ers. So thank you, Cynthia. Thank you to all of you guys this year. It's been a wild one, but I appreciate you. And hey, it's Monday tomorrow. We'll still be back at it. Appreciate you all. I'm out of here for now. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it.